Our next category are those that are rod-shaped. Examples of these that are spherical shaped, we have the bacteria that cause pneumonia. Ever heard of someone suffering from pneumonia? Okay, now moving. The cells that cause pneumonia are spherically shaped, and so are the cells that cause boils. I'm not too sure if you've ever been lucky to see boils, but there are some swellings in the body. So those bacteria are also spherically shaped. Now, the bacilli are rod-shaped, and to begin with, the bacillus, it's a single cell that is rod-shaped. So, meaning that for that kind of bacteria, all cells appear as single cells and they are rod-shaped. Is this a rod? Yeah, maybe it's too long to be like that of a bacterium, but they are rod-shaped, so it can be something like this. Okay, rod shape. Not the rod that can be used to cane, right? So the next one are the Diplo Bacillus. Remember, as we say, Diplo for two. So it's a pair of rod-shaped bacteria that live together. And at all times, it's a pair. Okay? Now, the next one is the strepto for a chain. So you have chain of rod-shaped bacteria. So of course the chain could go on and on, but I've decided for my Streptobacillus to stop here. And lastly, are the spherical spore bacilli. Now these are they're still rod-shaped. The only difference is that they have spherical spores at every one of those bacteria. Okay. Now these spores can move, go elsewhere, and germinate into a new bacterium. That's quite strange, isn't it? But yes, the spores can move and then germinate into a new bacterium. An example of such is the one we call Clostridium tetani. Don't worry about the hard word, but these are the bacteria that cause tetanus. Remember those immunizable diseases that had tetanus in them? Yes, that bacterium is a bacillus that has a spore, a spherical spore on it. And so that is all about the bacilli. And now we're going to look at the other categories of bacteria according to their shape. And so the third and fourth types that we're going to look at for now is what we call Vibrio and the one we call Spirulus. Coco, Bacillus, Vibrio, and Spirulus. Now, Vibrio, they are comma-shaped, okay? So, if it's a bacterium, you'll find that it is comma-shaped, like that. It's not a moon, it's a bacterium that is Vibrio. An example of such is the one we call Vibrio cholerae, which causes cholera. Have you heard of cholera and people dying of it? It's all because of a comma-shaped bacterium which we call Vibrio cholerae. And lastly is the Spirulus. Spirulus. So now this one is spiral in nature. Okay, it is spiral. And so it's a bacteria that looks like this. Doesn't board, it is not big enough to be seen by our naked eye. Otherwise, I think it would be freaky to see a bacterium that looks like that. And so, those are the 4 categories of bacteria according to their shapes. Now, we're going to look at the importance of bacteria. Why exactly do we have to interest ourselves in bacteria? Why do we have to study them? Because of their importance. By importance, we don't mean only their good benefits. We also mean the bad thing about them that actually has to interest us into studying more about them. And so, the following are the importance of bacteria. Some of the importance of bacteria are these below. For example, symbiotic bacteria in the stomachs of ruminants secrete cellulase enzyme which digests the cellulose in plant material. Ruminants are those organisms that can chew cud, okay? And for the most part, those organisms feed on grass. Grass is made up of cells that have cellulose as part of their cell walls. Now, cellulose is very hard to be broken down thanks to these bacteria that enable these plants to be able to digest it. Actually, your body cannot digest the cellulose because you do not have that kind of bacteria. That's number one. Number two, they're important in the industrial manufacture of yogurt, cheese, vinegar, among others. If you have ever seen yogurt that's written probiotic, it's because it has some probiotic bacteria inside it. Say I have maybe an infection and they say, try and take yogurt, it might help. It's because of the nice bacteria inside the yogurt that are going to help me with my infection. Actually, if you see a sample of yogurt under a microscope, you see many of those cells, very many of those bacteria. It shouldn't be scary because they are beneficial. Okay, like we are going to say here that bacteria manufacture vitamin B12 and K. Actually, the bacteria in our bodies help us to manufacture, to produce vitamin B12 and K, which are very essential to our bodies. Some bacteria, though, cause disease. For example, we've talked about Vibrio cholerae that causes cholera. We've talked about pneumonia that causes pneumonia. Okay, among other sicknesses, among other illnesses, they're caused by bacteria. And now some of those cause food spoilage. If you keep food maybe somewhere, and then you find it has gone bad, it's not someone that has come and make it go bad. It is the bacteria responsible for that, because they are starting to decay. They are doing their job innocently, or spoiling your food. They cause food spoilage. And then some bacteria convert nitrogen to nitrates in the soil. And the particular name, we call them rhizobium. So plants really need nitrates to be able to carry out their functions properly. And so they cannot really get this nitrogen in the atmosphere the way it is. So some bacteria do the job of converting it into the form that can be taken up by the plants, and that is the nitrates, thanks to those bacteria in the soil. There are many more other importance. Remember, importance have the good side about them and the bad side. For example, the one that we have not written here is they are used in sewage plants to treat water. Do you know that this water that we flush finds its way somewhere to what we call a sewage plant? And these nice bacteria digest some of the materials in the water so that it ends up colorless, so that they return it back to us. And we don't know that one day we flushed it and they're so nice. And so those are some of the importance of bacteria. Okay, so that brings us to the end of Kingdom Monera into another